Hey guys, just want to say thank you for taking your time to watch this video. A happy early Thanksgiving to you and your families. Hope everybody can enjoy some good family time, whether it be good or bad, and enjoy some big food, and hope that transitions over into the weight room with some poundage on the bar as well. But this week I reached out to Austin Addington-Strapp. He's the assistant strength and conditioning coach at the University of Pittsburgh, and he works with football only. And in the position that I'm in, I'm an assistant right now, but I am essentially the head strength coach of my own sport teams. Um, a lot of people transition from being an assistant to a head guy or an assistant to a football only assistant as well. But I wanted to talk to him and hear his transition from being an assistant coach to a football only assistant, because that's what a lot of people want to transition into, is working with one sport typically. I know that's something that I would want to do in the future, but right now I'm really happy with where I'm at. But ultimately, a lot of coaches, when they go from being assistant and having their own teams and then working with solely one team, I want to know what are some things that they miss or things that they have learned that can take over with them to coaching just football only or whatever team specifically they're working with. So Austin gives great insight for this. He's been around the block for a little bit here, and he's done a lot of things from a private sector to high school and now at a big-time school in the ACC. So I want to thank Austin for taking his time to do this for me. I know everybody's going to learn a lot of great knowledge from him. And thank you guys again for taking your time to watch this. Hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving, and stay strong.
Austin Addington-Strapp, University of Pittsburgh, assistant strength conditioning coach for football. Recently I had a chance to speak with John Norcott, Wayne State University, no nonsense training. And our conversation, we just had an opportunity to share a little bit of our past, a little bit on how we've gotten to where we're currently at within the profession. Talked about a lot of different topics, several different issues, and things that kind of were particular to each of our situations, and then things that applied to both of us. And one topic that we had talked about that he wanted me to delve into a little bit deeper today, just based upon, my experience, is what are some of the things that I have learned and carried over from being an assistant coach in charge of my own smaller teams to now being an assistant with football only. Previously I was on the Olympic side at a few different universities, and then also at the high school level, where I had a chance to, although I was an assistant in those roles, I was, for all intents and purposes, the head strength coach for that particular team, as I'm sure all the strength coaches are, familiar with. Is that when you're in those situations, those athletes, those kids, they look to you for a lot of the guidance, a lot of the answers. And now, as I've transitioned into an assistant role within football only, that experience can be very humbling. I think when you get into coaching, and once again, just speaking from my own perspective here, is that we all have a little bit of an ego involved. You hope that ego is not something that becomes detrimental to the training process, or it doesn't negatively impact anything from a professional sense, but you have a lot of pride about yourself, and I think that you should, when you're involved in this profession. As I had mentioned previously, you have a lot of athletes and kids and people who are looking up to you for that guidance. So now that I've transitioned into this football only assistant position, where it's not necessarily in the same I don't have the same role in terms of the capacity of things that I'm able to cause change for, that's very humbling. So if anything else, just learning humility has been great for me. Now, in my situation at the University of Pittsburgh, I'm extremely fortunate. The head strength coach here for football is Dave Andrews, and he does an incredible job. I couldn't ask for a better scenario or better guidance or leadership on that end. So, albeit humbling on, personally for me, obviously that's what's best in the scenario that we're in for the kids and, for the organization. Other things that I've learned just from being an assistant, and now transitioning into football and understanding everybody's situation is a little bit different. There's a lot of things that I have learned, not necessarily because I was an assistant for a smaller team now in football, but it could have been environmental, or maybe the boss that I had at the time. I think that it's critical that we pull from all the people that we're around to be able to kind of mesh all those different qualities and all those different ideas together as we present, when we have the opportunity to be in that head role, in that head position, when we have everybody looking up to us and looking to us for guidance, that we can kind of take the pieces and take the best portions of the people that we've been fortunate enough to be around so that we can offer a better service. But even from an organizational standpoint, when I had the smaller teams, you have so many different personalities. You're dealing with females, you're dealing with males, you're dealing with people from all sorts of socioeconomic backgrounds who've combated different things in their life. So the organization and the management of not only the training, but also the personalities. So being presented with those scenarios has definitely helped me to refine my skills in the art that I've tried to develop for myself for coaching. Because as everybody knows who's been in coaching or in teaching, as they're fairly synonymous, is that a lot of it is the knowledge that you have, a lot of it is the science, but I think the same could be said for the art of it. You know, you have to certainly know what you know, but you have to be able to apply what you know and make it make sense for other people. If they don't get it, then you're not really teaching them. So that's something that has really helped me along this path is being in a position with these other teams that have other physical goals, but also understanding the culture that they have. And you're having to deal with not only the personalities of the players, but the personalities of the coaches. So from a professional standpoint, being able to have those conversations with the sport coach and understanding what he or she may need and or want from a cultural development perspective, because once again, as you know, that we're kind of responsible in part for that as well. So being able to stay organized when it comes to the training and being able to continue to develop myself to offer a better service to the wide array of personalities that we encounter. Now transitioning from the smaller teams with the Olympic side now in the football, as I mentioned, you know, there are things that I've learned from both ends that can apply. You know, if I went back and trained in the Olympic side, I certainly would do things different. And I hope that I can say the same thing a couple years from now. I hope that as my knowledge continues to increase, I would go back and manipulate things a little bit to offer a better service. But now that we have, you know, you can have up to 5 strength coaches, you know, for the football team. And so for us, there should just be a higher quality of work. You know, your coach to athlete ratio is going to be much better for the athlete now. So you can kind of fine tune some of those characteristics or qualities that maybe you weren't able to do when you were dealing with some of the smaller teams in the Olympic side if you were the only person there who was assisting them. So before, if I was dealing with a room of, you know, 30 kids, I've had times I've dealt with a room of 80 kids, I may not have been able to fine point or individualize the training program as much as we can now. I think that if you can make it more individualized, that's where the magic lies. And that's truly how you're going to be able to optimize their performance. So, like I said, I've learned a tremendous amount from being with the smaller teams, learned a tremendous amount from the situation that I'm in now. And, you know, I think more than anything, like I alluded to before, is just having the opportunity to deal with different personalities. And when you have that chance to do that with the smaller teams, have different cultural backgrounds, have different physical demands, that's just going to continue to make you a better coach if you have the desire to transition into a football-only type position. So I'm sure I could continue to elaborate upon a lot of these ideas, you know, moving forward if there's another opportunity to speak with you. But I just want to thank John Norcott for giving me the opportunity to talk with you. Hopefully I was able to answer the question, and look forward to talking to you again. Thanks.